when you have an energy crisis and the expert is speaking, and it has nothing to do with what you are feeling in your house, that disconnect is very panicking enough. Because that's what I'm saying. I mean, you are in your house. The light goes off, it comes on, it goes off again for 6 hours, for 3 hours. And it's not as if it's one group of people in one area. Regions, I mean, communities, neighborhoods.
It's nationwide.
I mean, people are speaking about it. And then you have somebody who is called an expert sitting in the middle, telling you, oh, this is not, you know, I mean, for want of any better word, are you telling us we are stupid? People are sitting in their homes.
Well,
the power goes
that
on,
way.
it's on, 6 hours, goes off, comes back again.
Yeah.
And then you tell me that is not doom so. That is what? Is it plek?
I thought I was the only one going to fire, but since you've started.
But wait, hold on a second. Guys, don't you remember that in 2012,
Right.
2012, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo
Okay.
tweeted
Right.
on the, and by the way, you guys can actually go and search the tweet if you want. It's very easy. Very easy. Go to X and search, right? Hashtag Mahama must go. Hashtag IEA debate. Hashtag vote Nana 2012. These are the hashtags. If you search for it, you'll find it. He tweeted on his handle, Mr. President, and he was talking to
President Mahama
Then
at the time.
Mahama.
at the
Oh,
time.
no, then if it's 2012, I think it was
No, but
Tamils.
No, it was
no,
President
Amos was
Mahama.
already gone.
Mahama had taken over
I think
and was a
July-
candidate.
I think it was July.
Yes.
From
When
July,
was it?
August.
24th July, he
That's
passed.
when he
Yes.
took
And the
over.
same day,
Okay.
Mahama
Okay.
took over.
Yes.
actually.
Okay.
So he says, hashtag Mr. President, if the lights go out and come back on, is that not doomso?
Okay, so this was in October.
Yes,
Okay.
it's 30th
Okay,
October.
October, yes.
2012.
President Mahama was
30th
you
October
know,
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question that he asked then, Mr. President,
It's still relevant
if the
now.
lights go out and come back on, regardless of the reason,
Right.
if the lights go off and come back on,
Is
is
that
that not doomso?
Can I also say something?
Yeah.
Well then, Mr. President, if the light goes off and comes back, is that doomso or not? So are we right as citizens to demand a timetable? Thank you.
And you see, from Citi FM yesterday morning, let me repeat again. You see a gentleman who has applied for jobs, he's not been successful, he started his own business, and he's into photography, as Caleb Kudat rightly said. We'll start business, and you know, sometimes people think when you say somebody has started something small, the perception is that he had his own money at the bank.
Yeah.
It could be borrowed money.
Yeah.
These small savings and loans companies might have given him some 2,000 or 10,000 cedis to start something.
Or even goodwill. Sometimes you can start a business purely on goodwill. You don't have money.
friends
The
will be
person,
donating,
my friend is just giving you
supporting you
something,
here and there.
not as a loan. but
And you
it's
come
like
back again
goodwill.
telling him stories,
Yeah,
you know.
that's it.
And if you're not careful, the help won't come again. Some helps come once in a while, and I mean, it comes no more. And you see, with all these problems, you only want to hear power planning measures. And like I'm saying, if you had accepted, some of the things you could have done would be educating people to use power wisely. You know, you can go down there and clamp down on people who are actually stealing power. You can also go down there and to ensure that people who owe start speaking with them nicely to pay. Sometimes somebody owes you, but you have to even go and actually, I won't use the word beg, but negotiate your way out and get him to pay. Because maybe legally, they can decide, look, I'll pay you this at this X rate.
Okay.
If you clamp down the person and say you are closing it down totally, because you don't create employment for your people, he employs about 150 people or 200 people. If he cuts down 100 people, they are coming back on your head.
Yeah.
So you manage all those situations and negotiate.
Yeah.
So this morning, really, I'm reading on the social media how people, you know, some of us who are speaking, and yourself, myself, I mean, you know, we'll get the backlash. They'll come after us. But you see, what would I gain when I sit in my house in the comfort of my room and other people are suffering?
Yeah.
I have some, you know, like we say in the Ghana language, I have some Pukulumaja generator there, you know, which can power one AC for me. And you know, from those times to now, I bought it in 2014 actually. It's been there. People see it and they admire it. It's as fresh. You can come to my house. It's as fresh as you can imagine it. I keep things very well. So I'm using it all through. It is going through the second phase of doom. So So I mean, I'll put it on and it will work for me. But how many Ghanaians can afford?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you see, don't be surprised. The people who are talking in their house, they don't have my Pokoloma that makes noise for my neighbor to get angry. They have silent ones, and they are on. They don't even have to walk out of the house. It's automatic. 10 seconds, poof, then it's working. He cannot understand what you are going through. In a government bungalow,
Yeah.
some of them fixed. How many ACs did another government official fix? About 10 or 20, 12?
13 or something.
Yeah.
Around one building. So
Is
such
that
a person,
The NGRA boss.
I mean, so you know, it's actually a relaxing moment for some of them. But I'm saying they should carefully look at it,
Yeah.
study the document with experts,
let me
and
read,
come to our
let me
aid.
read this story and then we'll continue with the conversation. The Chief Executive Officer of Independent Power Generators, Ghana, Mr. Elik Plim Kwabla Akpetogbo, has disagreed with calls to privatize the ECG, Volta River Authority, and the Ghana Gridco Company, stating that privatization is not the solution to the country's power crisis. This follows a call by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II for the privatization of the Electricity Company of Ghana and other power sources to foster industry growth, job creation, and increased investment. Now, Asantehene, during the commissioning of a 430-kilometer natural gas pipeline by Gensa Energy on Wednesday, April 17, said it's about time that the government realizes it's not going to work for the government to be involved in setting up companies without involving the private sector. It doesn't work. The government should confront policies and involve the private sector, and you can attract more investors into the country, which will create more employment. However, Dr. Akpetogbo, in a statement dated 22nd April 2024, argued for the sustainable public ownership of ECG, citing the importance of reliable electricity for economic development, challenges associated with privatization, and lessons learned from previous privatization attempts in Ghana. Now, he emphasized that the privatization could lead to profit maximization over public service, increased tariffs, job losses, infrastructure neglect, and other negative consequences. Instead, Dr. Akpetogbo recommended enhancing ECG's operational efficiency, strengthening regulatory frameworks, and exploring public-private partnerships. Now, the CEO also proposed community engagement, investing in human capital, and long-term planning as crucial elements for sustainable public ownership. He urged maintaining public ownership of ECG to ensure accountability, equitable access, and strategic governance control over a vital national asset. Now, Paul, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I feel like my immediate thinking is to side more with the Asantehene than Dr. Akpetogbo. But he's an expert in this space, and he's saying that he's totally against it. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, and good morning to our viewers. Kweku, to start with, I think we've had a similar situation before by way of privatization. I don't know if you remember Power Distribution Services at the time when they took over. When we gave the administration of ECG to PDS, I'm sure you all remember the debt that was incurred after they left, in excess of 1.6 billion USD was the debt Ghana had to grapple with. We also saw the challenges some staff had to go through when PDS also took over. So there's more or less a blueprint to some of these issues. By way of privatization, no private investor wants to come in and make losses. No. They will do everything they can to maximize profit as high and as much as possible. Some even supernormal profit. All right, so no business-minded person will want to come into an entity and be making losses. So then it means where they have to charge, they will charge. And this is a national asset. The ECG and its allies, i.e. Gridco, VRA, BUI, what have you, in my honest opinion, how we were able to bring domestic tax services, VAT service, and then revenue service under one umbrella, I think it is high time as a country we did that. And put one person in charge, place various directors at each end. So you have one responsible for BUI, one responsible for VRA, and then one responsible for Gridco. All right, bring all of these bodies together. We do not need to privatize any of them. These are assets handed down to us by our forefathers that we must protect with everything in us. Yes, on the surface, it may look appealing that why doesn't government wash its hands of ECG, or better yet, the energy sector, so that private players can take over, and man the place and serve the people. But you see, as I mentioned earlier, when a private investor comes in, full cost recovery is their target. One. Secondly, maximization of profit. Two. All right? So let's look at the national good over a private investor's interest. Affordability. If, as a citizen, I am to enjoy a certain service, then the nation has given the power to a private individual who, uses his discretion to determine what cost I can buy. And so by virtue of that, I have to sleep in darkness because I'm not able to afford. That is not how a basic right is supposed to be enjoyed. And so I feel that, yes, as much as there are challenges with ECG, it is not the way to go to privatize it. In my view, I feel that if all the players within the value chain are going to be honest to themselves, one, government. As we speak, government owes ECG not less than 1.6 billion from August last year, even by way of the cash water mechanism. All right? Government or the Ministry of Finance was supposed to have vented some 200 million Ghana cedis to the ECG every month. And government has defaulted all the way from August till now. So cumulatively, for the last 8 months, government owes ECG 1.6 billion. If government is supposed to, or government will pay, or government pays this money to ECG, I'm not sure ECG should be having the challenges it is going through. Let's all admit that currently the power situation we have is not the issue of really, as it were, leadership, though it plays a major role. The issue we have is cash. Our inability to fuel the plants. Generational issues. We have a deficit of 500 megawatts that we are shedding from Gridco. All right? So these are the challenges we have. And if we are able to address these challenges head on, I do not think that we will need to privatize ECG where the ordinary consumer in some remote area or village in Pramkese or in Kade will not have access to electricity because a private investor has come in and by way of recouping his investment has increased the tariff so much and we are not able to afford. It is a basic good that citizens must enjoy, and this is where I believe government has to put its act together in making sure that all the arrears it owes ECG are paid off completely. All right? It is never justifying that we watch a national asset deteriorate to the level that it has. There's leadership crisis. Yes, we know that. There should be a total reform of the governance structure of ECG.
Yeah, but Paul, you see, the thing is that I believe that where Otunfo is coming from is that there isn't enough motivation, as it were, on the part of those who are running ECG to, number one, collect debts, and number two, bring the company into where it should be. Because at the end of the day, whether you work or you don't work, you get paid.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
Whereas for the private sector, if you don't work, you're not getting paid. It's as simple as that, right? So, I mean, for me, I think there's a way we can work a private-public partnership,
PPP.
yeah, you know, into the system, both on the distribution side and on the production side, you know, so that, because you see, I think that we attempted doing this thing on the distribution side, but it's not only a distribution issue, right? There's also the production side, and then there's the maintenance of all the equipment as well.
Okay, thank you. You see, I was building a point, and that was the governance structure. ECG has structural challenges, all right? And from the very top to the bottom, there are issues. We are paying people for absolutely no work done.
I agree.
In ECG. There are situations where individuals have to literally walk to the offices of ECG and require of them, even request that, listen, I've been enjoying light for this
light,
period. Please, I want to pay.
Yeah.
And even when they have the money in their hand,
yes,
they are asked to go back home.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah.
And that is where the reforms must start, all right? And that is where the leadership crisis must be dealt with, hands-on or head-on. If we have people at the helm of affairs who are not able to collect monies that is due an entity, then really what are you doing there?
Okay.
So we need to address that challenge of structural deficit, where you have people actually placed in there, responsible one for collection of revenues, and I believe my brother knows this too well because that's their field, revenue mobilization. But ECG consistently for years has been making losses, where we know the places to go to collect these monies, they are not even able to go. It is just until recently that we saw ECG decide that for a whole month we are not staying in our offices, we are going around to every home, every office, wherever, in making sure we retrieve as much as possible. And it worked somehow.
Yeah. All right. Jeffrey, your thoughts on...
And someone will ask, did I hear you talk about privatization? What a joke.
You think so?
What a joke. So we have problems with our security services. Like let's say the Ghana Police Service. Some professionals that work and you are disappointed. So we should privatize and give it to a private security firm.
No, that's not what we're saying. We're talking about
I'm coming somewhere.
Okay.
I'm just cracking out just like that, just so you can understand me, how basic we can understand it. Look, earlier experiences in both water and electricity sectors, okay, plus other sectors like the telecom sector, did not yield any profit to us. You remember when we let out one touch, Ghana Telecom, right? What did we get from it?
As in what? As a nation?
Yes, we threw it away. And somebody took it. Private person took it, okay? And did we get anything?
But the country has better service.
Better service.
Yeah. Don't we?
We have
and you're collecting
service.
taxes from them anyway.
I'll move to the next one. The water sector. No, I'm feeding you more. So you tell me what we had.
No, I mean...
We went to Aqua Vitran. Okay, Aqua Vitran.
I remember that.
Under the water sector, privatization. Did they bring one city? Boss, let me tell you what.
Is that not
you see?
a lack of efficiency by the way we rolled out the privatization? Right?
Right. So all I'm saying is privatization. Let me just do a simple explanation for what privatization is. Privatization is a ceding of the management of public assets, labor, okay, in the hands of private persons. That's what we do. Your assets, like he's saying, that what our forefathers have put in place, right down from the Akosombo Dam to the whatever you have put there, the infrastructure, the big, have you quantified it? If you quantify it, no company can come here and privatize. You can't pay for it. But you know what? You only see the management. That's how come less than 10 people. And the Aquavitran, the expatriates who came, there were less than 10 people. And let me tell you what, anytime you hear privatization, have you noticed that in Ghana here, usually our local companies do not win the bid?
Yeah, but maybe it's because we don't have what it takes.
You have the explanations.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I'm loving you
It's
for
not
having.
possible.
No, I love
We
you.
don't have what it takes.
I am loving you for having the explanations, but I'll drive with you because the fact, you see, truth. You see, my hall of residence is Layford Hall. It says truth and courage. Truth and courage. When you go to Vanda City, our brothers, they said truth stands. With the truth, no cry back. Truth is one. So I'll give you so that you'll be turning it. Like the way we are talking about people's mismanagement. Those who have taken our monies, they are mismanagement, and they want to shift the pole. I've paid you, do the job. You can't do it. You are telling me we should go and give it to the private person to run it for me. And I'm telling you what the private persons that we gave the contracts to have done with us. And the Aqua Return. We had to they came, our same assets. All they came to do, cut labor, send people home, put people on commission contracts.
Yeah. Which is what you do.
And you think you can't do that now with the Ghana government? You can't do it.
So why are we not doing it?
So that is it. So you know the answers. You.
No, you see.
Kweku, sitting here alone with you.
Kabute.
Kweku, I'll now put you in the shoes of an expert. You have actually sat here.
And I'm not an expert. But
Don't worry. That is why I told you it's about the thinking problem. You and I are not energy experts. But you sat here. You've listed what the private companies, when they come and take over, what they do. What prevents those who we are paying now from doing same?
From doing the same thing. Lack of motivation.
And that is why you have to fire.
Or maybe different motivations.
You see, that is why you hire and fire. There is nowhere in this country that nobody can be hired and fired. Even the president can be fired. Are you aware?
Yeah, impeachment.
So what is the problem? And he has the power to fire. So if we give him so much power, and he has the will to do it, he will do it. If we give the minister the job to do it, he has the will, he can do it. All I'm saying is that as you go forward, we've tried Aquavitran around, okay? Look at the Teshi water desalination plant. For about a year, almost a year, they were not running. And the water company, we heard Stanley Mate shouting on top of his voice, commanding them to go back and give us the water. That's another privatization initiative. In your face, essential services like water, electricity, we've given it to private people, PDS, when they collected. Where's the money? Did they account to you? My brother, we don't want any heart attacks. In the midst of the economic crisis and the fatalities that are happening in the hospitals and clinics because the lights were just fluctuating, who feels his nose? And I've told you, if I had the chance and the power, nobody will leave this country to go and seek healthcare with our money out there. We all must stay in here and die in here. Yeah. Respectfully saying, let's stay in here and die in here. If you feel it, you see, when you feel the pinch, then you care. But if your wife and children and yourself, you can have the prime hospitals to attend, you can just move in there and honorable. You can't feel it with us. All I'm saying is that, look, with privatization, this is what you get. I mean, when you see it in the private hands. One, high cost of tariffs.
I love something out there.
You can't run away from it. High cost of tariffs. They are profit-oriented. Some of these services, they are public services. We're not saying run at a loss, but you need to break even or move up there and show up salaries for your workers, ensure that we are getting the service, everybody's getting electricity to run the industries. So it's more like it's an essential service that will keep the nation alive. Okay, our taxes. It is not your money.
Okay, so Kabute,
let me repeat it. It is nobody's money.
Kabute, I know.
My brother, it is our money.
I know that.
And you see, when you say privatization, you are going to see the assets that my taxes have put in place into the hands of a private person. Let a private person, nothing stops a private person from having their independent power plants over there. Or let a private person, please, I beg you, with all due respect, let the private people, everybody who thinks privatization is right, please, tell the private people, we have government companies, we have a security company. Our government security companies, the Ghana Police Service, plus the military and the rest. There are private security firms who are also running. So if you have that taste to produce power, go and use your own resources and assets to produce the power and sell it, so that at least the rich people can afford.
And they are being owed by this same ECG that's giving us issues.
All I'm saying is that they should go and run it from start to close.
6 independent power producers are being owed in excess of
senior. That's a concern. That's another PPP arrangement, okay? Which is also another case altogether. I'm saying when you mention privatization, that's for the private person you are ceding totally to the hands of a private person to run it and make his profit. When it's profit oriented, the next one is high tariffs. You get that short change of assets giveaway. You will be giving away Akosombo Dam and your heavy things that you paid huge amounts for only 10 people to come and manage, and they'll take your money away. There's actually the profit oriented approach, which will drift away from public service. There's the next one, which will be the repatriation of profits by the MNEs, the multinational enterprise. When they come and take the privatization, they will work here. The few who benefit. When you go and talk to a person who's working in Newmont, they will never agree with you. They'll be like, yes, privatization is good, because their salary is coming. Don't think about the Ghana consolidated gold or something local that will be owned by government and people of Ghana.
All right, okay.
Finally, let me tell you about the limited local participation. We will cut our participation in the energy sector. You come and get one company who come and take your assets and run it and go with it. Look, the most important thing, go and collect the revenues. Connect those who are illegally connected. Negotiate the purchases of fuel and all those things with those who are supplying you. Okay? The countries that we are even supplying them with energy, go and speak with them. My brother, we started something under this ECOWAS protocol. We are friends. We started so well. I am in a fix right now, but it affects you and I. So what is the case? The case is that give me maybe 3 months or 6 months ahead payment, and I'll make these energy supplies to you timely.
All right.
The both of you would negotiate.
You got to go for this.
Finally, I think we should look at these assets that you are looking. You see the assets normal. Akosombo has always been there. So you won't cherish it until you give it to a private person and they are raking in. You see how the private telcos are raking in money and they pay us salaries. So you are happy. But go and see how much they make, how much they pay in taxes, and how much they take back home. Think about it.
All right. We're having a conversation here on the news review segment on Breakfast Daily, and we're just talking about Erratic Power Supply, stakeholders expressing their views on the issue of privatization of ECG. Paul, I believe you want to make
a quick one.
Comments.
Yes. So you see, last year, ECG had to purchase some fuel under government's directive. When the purchases were done, government did not pay ECG. And so that is where, again, the challenges with generation relies. Okay. All right. So there is leadership crisis both at the ECG and even the Ministry of Energy. And I'm saying so because if the sector minister to date, from last year to date, has not been able to resolve the challenges with ECG, and even had the nerve to tell us Ghanaians for demanding a timetable that we are evil people. I'm sorry, but again, I still feel the call by IES is more than rife. NAPO should be relieved of his duties as soon as practicable. In fact, now, we like NAPO. For all intents and purposes, we like NAPO as an individual. I like that man, you know, in my own right. But to be the head of a ministry that's supposed to be pretending over ECG and the likes, and we still have Doomso.
Why not fire the individual heads of the various sectors?
He must go. The ECG boss must also go. And that is why I'm saying that we have leadership crisis at both the ministry and...
No, but the ECG boss seems to have done a stellar job since he came.
Come on. Where you are playing at the whims and caprices of a particular individual, the two of you must go.
What about...
You were going under the directive of PURC to issue a timetable. You refused. Because a certain minister is saying that whoever is demanding for the timetable is evil, and you cannot do that because your hands have been clipped. By who? By the minister. And so if you are relieved, your minister also must go.
Okay.
So I am calling for both the head of the ministry and then the head of ECG.
But have you noticed something in the CSO space that I saw recently? Some of the CSOs that were having challenges with funding, they cut salaries. They negotiated with some of their staff to work from home and be on
No, but that's
contract.
how you do it. You cut your
So
your
with this
expenses.
experience, you see, you just have to meet the labor community. Look, I've given you employment. This is what we are facing. Two things can happen. Is that you walk out there, okay, mass call in for revenue collection, or second phase is that we'll cut salaries. Third phase will lay some people off. And that is how it is done.
Yeah.
So if you can do that and also pay, you see, you don't owe a company that your own branch company. You owe them and come back and be blaming them.
Yeah.
When you are using some of the money to do other things.
All right, gentlemen, let's make
properly
progress.
target our revenue.
Let's make progress. Thank you.